what on earth is going on? What has changed so catastrophically in our world that diabetes is so prevalent, whether it's diabetes, pre-diabetes, insulin resistance, or some sort of sugar, glucose, like what's happening with our bodies? Welcome to The Real
Healthy You.
It's so good to be back another week to talk about other healthy, amazing topics. And we've talked a lot about diabetes in different episodes, but this is an epidemic in the United States and then really across the globe. And everybody can see it. If you don't know someone with diabetes by now, it's probably rare that you don't know of someone. If it's not you, your family member, it's probably someone you know who has some kind of a diabetes, right?
Something, yep.
And we're not talking about type 1 diabetes, just to be clear. We're only talking about type 2 diabetes. And this is something that has been going on for probably it's really grown over the last 50 years, just like
Since the early 60s.
It's gone up.
Yeah. Early 60s,
crazy.
yep.
And, some would argue it's a social experiment that, we did this whole nutrition. We had the government tell us what was the best way to eat to care for our bodies. They did.
They called it the pyramid.
Food guide
They
pyramid.
called it the pyramid.
And as a result,
We have every disease you can even think about.
lots of problems.
We've got them now.
Yes. And this is not to say that it's only what you eat, because there's a lot of other issues with water quality and toxins and plastics, and there's a lot of other stuff. But there is a huge piece that has to do with our nutrition. And so we're going to talk a little bit today about sort of whose responsibility is it at this point? Is it our responsibility as patients and as individual people? Is it the medical field's responsibility? Is it pharmaceutical companies? Is it the government? Like, where does all of this land when we're talking about why we're all struggling so desperately with diabetes as a society?
I think it might be a little bit of all of that.
Yeah.
I want to take full responsibility for myself. So I might be a little bit, maybe I'm harder. Maybe it's exactly where I need to be, because when you know better, you do better. But you got to know better. Yeah. Okay. Unfortunately, we didn't know better. We really didn't.
Right.
We believed that pyramid so much that we just obeyed. At least I know I did.
Yeah,
I did every single thing that they said I should do on that pyramid. And it's funny because now they're reversing the pyramid. The pyramid's upside down, but
not quite. It's a plate.
Well, not quite. That's right.
It's actually a plate.
That's
they would have to admit a lot of wrong
right,
in order to reverse the. I mean, if they were willing to,
oh my gosh,
come right out and say, "Wow, guys, we really blew it. We thought we knew, and wow, no, we're going to change it," and they were kind of owning it. I think people would be more open to that, because everybody makes mistakes, right? And if I said, you know what, I realized I really had your best interest at heart. I did this because I really believe that to be the best that we could do, and now see 40 years later the results of that, it's not that at all. New research has come out, blah, 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 blah. We did not give you the right information.
But to be honest with you, Jamie, personally, I believe they've known this for years.
Yeah.
Because now it became a moneymaker.
Yeah.
And in order to keep that money flowing and getting bigger and badder, they had to stick with it and make it even worse, as a matter of fact, because then they were making it worse because it was making more money.
Right.
So,
I mean, and we can talk some about that, because that's a legitimate point. When we think about, all of these pieces, they don't all talk to each other. Okay, so it's not like this grand conspiracy where the patients, the doctors, the pharmaceuticals, the government all conspire to. It's not like that. There's this big they, and there's them, and the stuff that's over, and you don't quite understand what's happening, or you can't trace back to like what's happening here, right? So for me, if I start to have issues with my health and I go and get checked and my doctor's like, hey, your blood glucose is high. I'm like, what do you mean?
Yeah.
First of all, I don't even know what you mean by blood glucose. What are you talking about? Right? How many people really understand how insulin works in the body, how the blood glucose is spiked or not spiked, what that does to your insides? How many people really understand what that's about? I mean, I would say a lot more than used to.
Yeah.
But a lot of people, they don't. They eat what's healthy, or they think it's healthy, or they don't. And whatever it is whatever it is. So there's something to be said for us as people, individual, and then patients. We need to take responsibility for our own health.
Absolutely.
And go find answers. And there has been story after story by the tens of thousands of people who doctors told them to do something and they said, I knew it wasn't the right thing for me. I just knew I shouldn't have. And they knew it wasn't what their body needed. They knew it. But we are trained to doubt ourselves and follow what they say and all of that. So there is something to be said for 2025 where we can access information ourselves, the same kind of information that your doctor gets on the computer and looks up while you're in their office with them. Right? Does that happen to anybody? Put a thumbs up if this has happened to you. You're in your doctor's office.
Yes.
And you give them some symptoms or something. And they go on their computer and they start searching up different things, and they come back and say, oh, and this cluster of symptoms, let's look at this or that. They're looking that stuff up. They don't know everything. How can they?
That's true. And then you got the doctors that don't look up that stuff.
Right.
They don't do any research. And that's where you come in. You've got to be the one that does your research.
Yeah.
How many times have you taken medication in your life and it doesn't make you feel any better?
Right.
I mean, you got to just see this, and you keep telling that doctor, but I don't feel any better. I don't feel different.
Yeah.
You don't.
But that's what's prescribed. When you say this, we give you that.
That's it.
That's it. Yeah.
That's it. And guess what? I learned that they're there to prescribe.
Yeah.
I mean, that was a big hit for me. Yeah. I have a wonderful doctor that's honest enough to tell me certain things, and I'll tell you, and it's only because I do my research, not as a braggadocious, but as my health. I need to do the research, and because I bring it to him, he knows I know what I'm talking about. And when he knew that, there was no sense in him fighting or resisting that. Right. And then I got the facts that, hey, listen, I'm here to prescribe. Yeah. If you don't take the medication,
it's not going to be covered.
It's not going to be covered.
They're not going to do that.
They're not going to do this.
Other stuff that you need.
That's right. And I learned all that, and I said, whoa.
It's a system.
It's a system. Yeah. Where you coming from in this realm of things, and are you going to be honest enough to say what's so? And you really need to know yourself.
Well, okay, so to tie this in with scripture, right? So, the story of the Bereans, and they listened to all of the words that were preached to them. They heard it all, and even though they believed the person speaking, they still went back, and the scripture says the Bereans were of a more noble people. Even after they heard all that had been said, they went back and they searched the scriptures to make sure that what they were told was true.
That's right.
So even like, this is my mom. She tells me, hey, Jamie, this or that. I'm going to believe her. Like, she's proven to be trustworthy. When she tells me something, I'm going to believe her. But even though she's telling me, I still have to, at the end of the day, go back and make sure that what she's saying is true, because it ends with me. Personal responsibility. Right. And I think if we take that on more individually from our doctors, if our doctors say, hey, this and this and this, well, show me what I can look up. How can I feel confident in what you're saying? Give me some research, some statistics. Teach me, tell me. And then go back and look it up. That's why we have second opinions before people do rash surgeries and rash treatments. They go get a second or third opinion. Why? Don't take someone's word for it. You gotta double check. So that's the first call is for us. The first call is for us as individuals to take personal responsibility for our own health, right? We've talked about take your temple back. What is your temple? You've probably heard about intermittent fasting. You've maybe even tried it. Maybe it didn't work out for you. Maybe you didn't get great results. Or maybe you just need a reset. But either way, we've got this free intermittent fasting guide for you. It's got lots of colorful pictures and lots of information with a 2-week plan to get you started intermittent fasting and enjoying the amazing benefits. So check the link below if you're watching YouTube, and if you're on the podcast, check the show notes. Get that link.
And it's easier than you think.
Yeah, so go get it.
Yep.
What is your temple?
Your body. God created it.
Yes.
We keep trashing it.
Correct. So
like
you have a temple that you're treating any kind of way, and you know who you are. Like, we all have to take an honest look. This is not a judgment conversation. This is not condemnation. This is not you're this or that. No. This is an observation, and it's an invitation that each one of us can take some reflective thinking on ourselves and say, okay, where am I falling short? Or where am I glorifying God with my temple? What can I? It's an honest look. Take inventory of yourself and where you're at and what you've been doing. And that's the invitation.
And it really just bases down to respect. We're glorifying God when we take charge of doing our research to see what's going on. But it's respect. It's respect for this perfect creation. So it brings it even.
But when you say perfect, I'm sorry. I know what you're saying.
Yeah, perfect.
This is I know exactly what you're saying. But I am a word. Yeah, I'm about make sure it's clear what we're saying, right? Our bodies are not perfect. They never will be. So not that kind of perfect.
It's created perfect.
The word perfect might rub people because we're fallen. Perfection is gone. Like, this is way back in the garden. It's over. We're never going to be perfect. But what she means is God gave us the body complete. It is complete as he gave it. So whatever you do to it after that, that's what you did and what you're doing.
And that's perfect.
Yeah, and that's what she means by perfect. Yeah. It's not, anyway. So you're saying we have this body God has given us. So what are you going to do about it? What are you going to do with it? Are you even going to take the time to figure out what to do with it? Right? Or are you just going to, whatever? So that's the first call, is to do something about respecting and also reverencing and having awe and reverence for your body as something special, amazing, and important, and a gift. And so the gift it reflects the giver. God created us and gave us this body. Right. This is a gift. We want to take care of it in a very special way.
And just on a worldly look, or just a thought, if there's that saying that keeps coming up all the time, and we can make it just simple: when you know better, you do better.
Yeah.
So everyone wants to do better.
I have to keep changing this. Sorry, gotta change it.
Okay, go ahead, change it. She's going to change it.
You know better does not mean you are going to do better.
But watch.
How many of us know people?
That's true.
Who know better?
That's true.
Who simply refuse.
Well, that's another
to
point.
do better.
That's another
They are
point.
rebellious, or they are just blinded, or they are in defense mode, or in denial.
That's true.
They know better.
That's true.
But they simply do not. And did you not? Are you not that same person? Am I not that person? I've known better.
That's true.
I've known better and not done better. So I love your saying.
That's true.
When you know better, you do better. I just want to tweak it a little bit. And I want to say, when you know better, you can do better.
That is very true.
When you know better, now you can do better. You don't have to, but you can. Because you know better.
That's right.
You have the opportunity now that you didn't have before.
Because, just to bring a little small point, I remember saying something to some young lady. And I says, well, when you eat that, or that particular thing, it's really running havoc on your body. And this is what's giving you whatever that was. And the statement she made, and this goes right along with what you just said.
Yeah.
She says, "Oh my gosh, I can't even imagine giving that up.
Yeah.
I couldn't live without that.
Yeah.
This is the killer that she's eating.
But
she can't live without
relate.
it.
We can all relate to that. There are things
Exactly,
we may
that
not
we
be
just
as
need-
honest as she was, though, because she came right out
She
and said,
was-
"I
that's
can't
right.
live without it." We might be like, "Oh yeah, that's true," and then we still
However,
don't live
yeah.
without it. we
However.
just kind of, "Oh yeah, you're right, yeah," and then we still kind of do it anyway. But yeah, when you know better, you can do better.
You can do better.
You can.
I like that.
You
better.
have the
I'm
opportunity.
changing it.
Well,
when you know better, you can do better.
Right.
I like that much better.
Yeah. Or you cannot too. Like that's your
Well, that's
option.
true too.
And again, this is from the highest on down, from God on down.
Down.
You have a choice. You have free
That's it.
will. I'm telling you what would be best for you as your creator.
That's right.
And you can either do it
Or not.
or not. And you can reap the benefit or the negative consequence. It's up to you. And that's the freedom we were given, and that's the freedom that you're still given. That's what we're
everything.
giving you to think about. When you know better, you can do better. You have the freedom to do better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is so true.
So that's the first call. Then we have to speak to medical people, whether it be doctors, nurses, nutritionists, coaches, whoever has to do with
Wellness or whatever.
Yeah, dietitians or whatever who are in your health and wellness field, right? You have something to ask yourself as well. Like, what do you truly know and believe about diabetes 2025? I'm not talking about 20 years ago when you could say, "Oh, I didn't know." Can you really say that anymore?
No.
With all the research that has come out, with all the research that continues to come out, with all the anecdotal, millions
Yes.
anecdotal.
Yes.
And now the medical field doesn't really appreciate anecdotal, right? It goes with, give me the research, give me the double-blind study, give me the stats, give me. And I appreciate it. But if tens of millions of people are saying, "Hey, when I get 20 minutes of sun a day, I feel like a whole new person. My energy
right.
level is through the roof." Tens of millions of people say that. And then you got some medical field saying, "Well, there's no research that proves that when you're in the sun, it will give you energy." Okay. Maybe there isn't any research that proves it, but tens of millions of people are telling you.
They're
You
experiencing
can't
it.
ignore that. And so because they can be sued, because they have to cover their assets, because they have these other ulterior motives, they can't accept that anecdotal evidence. But we as common sense people, we can accept the anecdotal evidence, right? So diabetes is not what they said that it was 50 years ago. It is an insulin issue. It's an issue with, our blood sugar not being balanced properly, and insulin problem. Yes. But saying you have to be on medicine the rest of your life, saying that you're never going to be able to be cured, saying that it's not reversible, none of that is true. It's not true. Now, there might be a few cases out there where people got issues going on. Please, let's put those to the side. Okay? Because there is such thing as too little, too late. There is such thing as that. Like, we go so far with something that it creates all these domino effects and creates other damage, and and we can't just unravel it. There's such thing as that. But for the most part, diabetes is extremely, extremely forgiving when caught
That's
in
right.
the right window of time.
Yep.
Which is a pretty big window.
That's right. And I call it a processed food disease. That's what it is.
Yeah.
The food we eat is so incredibly wrong.
Yes.
It's so wrong in so many ways.
That's true.
That it keeps you in a diabetic, whatever that is.
And there's enough research now. We're not just saying this anecdotally anymore. Anecdotal is not any.
No.
There's tons more anecdotal, but statistics, actual studies, so many of them. You can actually probably just Google at this point and see study after study helping us understand the reversibility of diabetes, and actually how it's not as difficult as you might think.
At all.
Right? I mean, it's more difficult emotionally and
Yeah, but
willpower way, but not physically.
Yeah, but like you again, when you know better, you can do better. It's the knowing.
Yeah.
They're telling you, okay, diabetes, okay, sugar.
So you had diabetes, and they told you had to take metformin, and you had to take
And
medicine,
then I went to the insulin. I did it all. Okay. They say it's a sugar thing.
Sugar diabetes.
But guess what?
Sugar diabetes.
That's right. And then they say starch also makes sugar. So you know all that. So what does that tell you? Oh, maybe I have to do less sugar and less starch.
Yeah, but you thought it was sugar, like the sugar on the table. Like, oh, well, I just won't eat Twinkies. And you thought that was going to solve your problem. Meanwhile, pasta's eating you alive.
Because
unhealthy pasta.
There's the key. Because the sugar is no good.
Right.
The sugar. Your table sugar is no good.
Correct.
The starch that they use, the way they make...
And the highly processed flours and foods made with it. Yeah.
I can't even begin to tell you how everything you think you're doing, eating less of...
Yeah.
Fructose, all of that you're eating less of and nothing's happening.
Yeah.
Because none of it is good. You got to get rid of all of that. You got to get rid of it. Not eat a little bit of it. Not even. You get rid of it.
And part of it, her point is well taken in that where are you on the diabetes timeline or on the diabetes spectrum, okay? So, for example, if you have type 2 diabetes diagnosed by a medical professional, you know what your blood sugars are, you know what your A1C is, you know what all's going on with your glucose and your insulin, not just A1C, but your actual insulin, and you know those levels, and it's clear that they are out of control, right? That's one thing. Somebody else all the way over here who has pre-diabetes or is experiencing the beginnings of insulin resistance, and the doctor has said, hey, I noticed that your blood sugars aren't coming down as quickly. Maybe they're not super high, but what's going on? They don't seem to be coming down as quickly. Or you're gaining weight around your middle. Hey, you're puffy and you're fit. Like, there are things going on here that, insulin resistance is coming into play for you. This is at the beginning. You can do some things right here very different than the person over here can do. This person needs a lot of big time changes. This person needs smaller changes. I mean, it's just that simple. And the closer you get over here, the bigger the change will have to be. Now, granted, you can still take slow, bite-sized steps, but it will take that much longer to get the results you're looking for. And if your diabetes is wacky out of control, and it's starting to get to other things like damaging your veins and your arteries, now we're talking about, okay, just cut that stuff off. We just need to cut that stuff off.
But you cut that stuff off completely. You give yourself 1 week, it's over. But you can tweak that stuff.
Yeah.
It's not like it's that or nothing. It's that and something healthy.
Yes.
So,
balance
sugar is no good. You read those labels. Every time they use the sugar, they use it a different kind of sugar. You just have to learn all those sugars that are no good. But there are a couple of sugars that are perfectly fine.
So we have got an amazing offer for you. We have a low-carb Get Started course. It is a virtual online course. It's 6 weeks of full, colorful presentations. You've got a course book. You've got all that you need in order to get started on low carb. It's called Help, I Don't Know Where to Start, a 30-day guide to low carb. So it's self-paced, it's virtual. Go ahead to our website, therealhealthyou.com, and get your course so that you can get started smashing the sugar, which is the first foundation when you want to get rid of low carb.
That's right.
Yes. So
and you got this help right here.
Yes. Take advantage of it, and we'll see you on the other side.
Yes. Come right from God. The leaf, stevia, for instance, monk fruit. Make sure there's nothing else in it, and you're good.
Yeah.
Now you got it sweet.
Yeah.
But you got it so it's clean, and you're not gonna have an A1C where it's not supposed to be. You're not gonna have a sugar diabetes anymore. It's just tweak it.
And again, if you're over here with full out diabetes, this is not something you do alone. Okay, if you're on medication, if you've got, insulin or pills or something, you're literally messing with your whole body's process.
That's right.
Right? When you take that medication, you take that insulin, you're literally messing with your body's dynamic, everything. So you can't then just go, oh, I'm going to keep taking this medicine. I'm not going to eat this or that, and now the medicine's counteracting something that's not there. You've got to work with your doctor. The challenge is if your doctor's not willing to work with you on that, now we have an issue. And that's what I meant by what's going on with the medical field. So do you have a doctor who is somewhat cowardly? And I say that to say, this doctor probably has read the research, or at least the alerts that says the research is changing. And maybe they're not up to date. Maybe they don't want to. Maybe they're comfortable and they just want to keep things the way they are. They're not handling the change well. So what are they doing? They're still giving you a prescription. They're checking you every time and telling you keep going. See you in 3 months. I'm getting my fee. I'm getting I'm prescribing my pills. I'm keeping you going.
The insurance is loving me. I'm doing everything it wants me to do.
Yes, and I'm going to keep you right where you are because things are stable and it's cool. And I'm just going to keep doing that. That is cowardly because the research is showing you that person does not need to be on that kind of medication for 20, 30, 40, 50 years because you don't want to do your job. That's not fair and it's not right. So that is cowardly and it's greedy because you're getting money, or it's lazy because you don't want to do the work, or it's selfish because you don't want to change your life. Whatever you pick. But if your doctor's not willing, you go say, hey, listen, I want to be able to get off my medication. I want to get healthy enough that my own body can handle my own insulin and digestion and manage my own blood glucose levels myself. And they're like, oh, no, you can't because you're diabetic. You won't be able to do that. I strongly suggest you go get a second opinion.
That's right.
And go find the person who's willing to do what you need to be done in order to do that in a safe and wise way.
And your responsibility is to go to him with the information that you know.
Correct.
You need to do your research.
Right.
You cannot depend on a doctor to tell you every step you need to take.
Right.
In his view, you need to do research. You need to come to him with the questions and answers.
Yes.
So that he could either be uncowardly or not. And if he's cowardly, you'll hear it and you'll notice it.
Yes.
Then you go next.
And then, there is also the doctor who's more complacent than cowardly. And so maybe they just don't want to be bothered. Let's just keep, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Keep it going the way it's going. I don't want to upset the apple cart. So you might have that person who really isn't
a doctor. Sorry. I'm sorry.
Yeah, they're not
but
putting
if
you
he's that
first.
Way, he's not a doctor.
Yeah.
Because don't they take what's it called, a Hippocratical oath or something?
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah.
If you see that, you better run.
Yeah.
You better run,
So
girl,
you just
boy,
or
man.
you may be the person to say, hey, I really like to change this. And maybe they're willing now to change because you're kind of helping them see, and maybe they'll make those adjustments, right? And then you might have on the other, sort of this in between, this sort of caught between a rock and a hard place medical person. Because it's like, I work for this company, and this is what we do. This is the policy. This is the procedure we use. When someone comes in with this symptom cluster, this is what we do. This is how we do it. And you can't really break out of that.
Upset the apple cart.
Without leaving. So maybe you have to quit that job and go somewhere where you can have your conscience clean about what you're doing. But some people are sort of in the middle there where they're not really clear. about even what they're doing, how that's affecting people. They may not. You may be the one to help them see, wow, you can make a difference in my life if you use your powers for good, not evil. your doctor powers, or your nutritionist or dietitian powers, for good. And so there's a lot to be said. It's never going to just be like you said, oh, it's them, they're so bad, they're doing all these things. You have some say in it as well. And you get a partner in your doctor or your medical person to help the two of you move on and get what it is you need.
And you have more of a say than you realize.
Yeah.
And really, that's your responsibility.
Yeah. Yes.
To make sure that you're doing research on your own self.
Yes. And you have the power there because they need you to be their client, so
not only that, but when you're doing research, you'll have all those wonderful questions.
Yeah.
Because it's going to resonate. You're going to say, oh, yeah, I feel that way, and oh, that's not working, and you have something to actually bring to the table. Yeah. And that is your responsibility.
And that's true because you have to understand, a lot of times the patients feel that status quo as well. They just I don't want anything to change. I'm good. You're giving me my prescription. Just give me my
give me my medicine.
Let me come in, give me my prescription, and let me go. Next. Yeah. I don't want to change anything. I don't want to have to do anything else. Just keep it the way that it is. So if everybody's saying that to this medical person, and only one person comes forward and goes, hey, I know that there's a way to get off this. I'd really like to. You may spark something in that medical professional that changes some things for them as well. So there's a reciprocal
responsibility as people, as humans, as created by God.
Absolutely. And then the last category that I bring up with the medical professionals is the courageous. The courageous medical professional, the one who's willing to kind of step outside and be the one to say, no, I'm not going to do that. And that can be really difficult sometimes, especially if you're comfortable, your bills are paid, everything's going well for you, or even if you have something super cushy that's really just giving you everything you ever wanted.
That's right.
It's like, I don't want to mess this up by saying this. Let me just leave it the way it is. But these are actual people. We're people, and we're taking all this medicine and this stuff in our bodies year after year, and we're supposed to think it's not going to do anything. Our bodies are fine with this fake stuff instead of doing it itself.
And imagine, Jamie, this stuff is going all through your cells.
Of course. Yes.
So it becomes a cellular problem.
Yes, on the very base level. Yeah,
redoing your whole being.
Yes, exactly. For years and decades, some people even decades.
You won't even recognize yourself after a while. It's changed you so much inside.
Yes.
It's just scary. I mean,
right. And so the courageous doctor is the one who says, listen, I've seen the research. I've seen the alerts. I'm going to go dig in deep, and I'm going to fight for my patients. I'm going to be, the knight in shining armor who comes forward and says, hey, do you know that there is a way for you to get off this medication if you don't want to take it? Would you like to get healthy enough that your body can do what the medicine is doing? Would you like that? Some people are going to be like, no, I'm good. I'm okay with the way it is. Yeah. But some people are going to be like, really? I didn't know that was possible. They always told me
I need to take this medication for the rest of my life.
They didn't even know it was an option. So the courageous doctor is giving them options because, again, as a doctor, it's frustrating. I'm not a doctor, but I've definitely heard from doctors the frustration of trying to help a patient who doesn't want to be helped.
Yeah.
That's really frustrating. So you can't force it on the patients, but you can have that opportunity so that if that's something they want, you can partner up with them and you can make it happen to really change their life and their outlook. And that's amazing. So kudos to doctors who are willing to do that.
Oh yeah,
a lot of doctors online are speaking out in ways that are really against the sort of medical establishment.
Oh yeah,
and they're coming out and saying whatever's true because they don't work for them anymore. So they're saying whatever's true. And since cancel culture is kind of dying out, thank God, they're not all getting pulled off their platforms for saying the truth about the new research. So I'm really grateful for those courageous doctors, and I want to, if you're one of them or you know someone who is, tell them that the Real Healthy You ladies said kudos and thank you to you.
That's right.
Yeah.
And we need that information. And it's funny too, because we're getting more and more of that information. It not only is it resonating, but it's the same.
Yeah.
It's the same information.
Yeah.
It's in from different folks, but different ways it's coming up. But it's all
more and more.
It's being confirmed, and you know what? That makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely.
Why didn't I know any better? So don't worry about why you didn't know it, because you didn't know it because that other stuff was all out there. So now it's kind of, it's your responsibility. I keep saying that to really do something for you.
Yes.
And
I will say this, we know so much, the medical field, the science, physics, like AI, we are just in this age of, oh my goodness, what don't we know? The human arrogance and the hubris is just like, so it can seem crazy that someone would be like, what do you mean you don't know? Of course they know. Let me just put this in perspective for you. Our bodies were not made by humans.
That's right.
And the finest minds, the most intellectual, the smartest people in the world still don't know so much about how the inner workings of our body is happening. This is on a God level, right? This is creator God level stuff.
Absolutely.
We can't even begin to touch on so much more of what our bodies are capable of, what they do, and what's going on in these processes. There's still so much we simply don't know, right? But we've only started chipping away at this very recently in terms of history.
That's true.
A couple hundred years. I mean, let's think about, what is it? Maybe like vitamin A. When did we get vitamin A? I mean, literally, when did they even notice that there was this vitamin? And they named it A, because the first one of the alphabet. And then, B, C, D. But the point is, we didn't know what was going on. We were eating digestive, nutrition, what food does in our body and all that. That stuff this is new stuff, guys. In the big scheme of things, couple hundred years, we're really starting to get the idea that the things we're eating, they provide this or they do that. They change this nutritionally in our bodies. This is a lot of new stuff. And so because of that, you can't expect us to get it right from the start. Right? I mean, you know how many people died of scurvy before they figured out that was a vitamin C deficiency? Oh my goodness, imagine if we had known that before. We didn't know. People died. Well, now they don't need to. Well, that's a timeline that keeps going. We're gonna, 2 years from now, we're gonna discover something else. Autophagy. We just learned about autophagy.
Imagine.
Nobel Prize winning idea of autophagy. This is recent stuff, guys. And there's still so much more to unravel and unfold. And so we've got to be on our guard about, what makes sense when these new studies and this new research. We've got to be willing to be forgiving. We have to be patient. We have to be diligent and discerning. And we have to look and say, okay, what makes sense about this? And what can I implement in my world to help me take better care of my temple for the glory of God who gave it to me? So that means ask him some stuff. Like lean on the wisdom of the Holy Spirit to help us to discern a lot of this stuff, even if we're not dietitians or scientists, right?
It's funny you mentioned vitamin A, and it's I'm learning about vitamins also, but one that got me really, I know this is a little off topic, but vitamin D.
Yeah.
I thought I needed to take all these supplements and whatever. And in the wintertime, you don't get a lot of sun.
Depending on where you live.
That's true.
Hey, our sunny side of the world people, give us a
true.
thumbs up, because you get a lot of sun all year round.
So you're healthier. Just saying. 15 minutes. That's all it takes.
Yeah.
15 minutes.
Or 20.
Well, or 20.
Or 20.
sitting in the sun, having a cup of coffee or whatever that is, or going on wherever you got to go to the store or whatever, 15 minutes or 20, and you got the whole day's worth of vitamin D. And it didn't cost a penny.
Yeah.
I know, as simple as
You had
it
no
was,
idea.
as simple as that was, when I heard that, I will never ever be at, what is it called? Like, I will never not benefit from it.
Oh, right.
I'll never be at, there's a word at its,
At a loss?
at a loss
Yeah, for it.
of vitamin D.
Yeah.
All I have to do is go out in the sun.
Right.
I never knew it was that easy.
Yeah.
Okay, I thought I had to eat certain foods and I had to take certain supplements, and if I miss them, I'm going to die. No, it's amazing.
I mean, that's a whole nother science of what vitamins need to be eaten along with other minerals, and what things need fat. They're fat soluble, so if you eat them without fat, they don't absorb as well, and water soluble, and they go through quickly. You got to get more every couple of hours. You know, there's a lot to be said, and this is something we're learning. Just the whole nutrition science world is a whole nother ballgame. And as a certified nutrition coach myself, I've got to keep up with all these changes because it's constantly changing. And adding cool things to it to help us, to be healthier. But the point is, without overwhelming us, we need to be able to take steps to consistently love and care for our bodies as our spiritual act of worship to the God who gave us our bodies, and that we can honor him with our bodies. And so, so we talked about us as people and patients. We talked about the doctors, and did we talk about nutrition? Pharmaceuticals. So the pharmaceutical world is a whole nother story, and the very, without getting into a big whole thing about it, everybody has feelings about the whole pharmaceutical industry.
Oh my gosh.
But certainly they're driven to make money. And I'm not going to say everyone, because there are people whose hearts really are like, how can I find a cure? I don't want human suffering. And I'm not saying people like that don't exist. But in the pharmaceutical industry, the overarching theme is how much money can we make and how quickly can we make it before it catches up to us that we need to make a different product.
That's right.
So it's not unheard of that they will put out a product that's not quite ready and take the loss and make the money, and whatever happens. So we can't just be taking stuff randomly every time it comes out and there's a commercial or whatever. We got to be more diligent than that.
So Jamie, do you ever notice, is it just me? Do you ever notice when you see a commercial? You know what? It's so sad, but it's not really funny, but it's disgusting funny. You see the commercial and they're telling you what to take for a certain ailment.
Yes.
And before they're done, oh, it's so bad, they tell you how you're going to die.
Okay. All the side effects and possible problems that you'll have.
Jamie.
Yes.
One was on the other day and it says you're going to lose your limb. Wait a minute.
I know.
It's almost so...
But at least my rosacea is cleared up.
But you know what I'm saying?
I have smooth skin, so what if I don't have any limbs?
Jamie!
That's like, what?
Jamie.
I know.
Does anybody notice
or
that?
Kidney failure and stuff. It's like, geez, I need my kidneys.
And wait,
what are you talking about?
What about the other thing? When they say, immediately call your doctor.
Yeah, if you fall on the floor and start convulsing, immediately call your doctor. It's like, I think I know that.
But wait, even still, what doctor's going to answer you?
Oh my gosh. Who calls their doctor? Like, you're not going to get into that.
If
you got to call 911. You can't call your doctor.
But
they're
if
not
you
even
can,
at the office.
But if you can.
Yeah.
What makes you think? I mean, you're literally convulsing.
I need an ambulance at this point. I know it. Yeah, all the side effects are really tragic, but they're required to tell you all these possible side effects.
So you don't sue them.
And we're supposed to be like, oh, sure, I can take that kind of risk. Okay, we're not. This is crazy. So the pharmaceuticals obviously are not someone we need to trust wholeheartedly without doing much research. And so we'll leave that at that. The last piece of this is the government. And so the government is the one who, the Health and Human Services, Department of, Health and Human Services and the Surgeon General and
all, yeah.
a Department of Health and all of this stuff to help us to be healthier. And they do have some good things to say. However, they're often decades behind in what they say.
Yeah.
They have to wait for research to tell them. So often the damage has been done for 10 and 20 years before they finally say blah, blah, blah. So we need to be more diligent about that.
Yeah.
And then also the government often is, unfortunately, corrupt and
Absolutely.
in line with
Absolutely.
either the pharmaceutical companies, the research,
Absolutely.
the people who come to Congress and try to, lobby for this or lobby for that. So there's a lot of sort of cross-sectional, not appropriate relationships going on.
Absolutely.
That are conflicts of interest. And so again, we can't just take these things with a grain of salt anymore. We really need to be wise about what we accept, like the Bereans did. They went back and they made sure that what they were told was true. And so
that's why they got a sign and everything, so we can't sue any of.
Yeah.
We just take what we get.
Yeah.
That's why you just got to do your research.
You got to, and take it slow. I mean, listen to your body. Your body has so much to say if you listen to it and get in tune with it. And so that's part of our journey to take our temples back, so that we can get back in touch with what our body is telling us, so that we can feed it, it can give us what we need, and we can have this lovely synergy that as it should be.
And it begins with the research, and it begins with changing your eating.
Yes.
Eating clean.
And we can start there as Bereans to go and search at what it is we should do.
That's right.
So hopefully this was a good call to challenge you, to give you something to chew on and to think about, and some things that you could reflect upon, as well as to observe yourself. We do actually have a journal that you can actually get as well. Let me show. And this is our the Real Healthy You Food and Mood Journal, which we use here to help you to track your eating and your feelings and what's going on in your body and the reaction to different foods and all of this thing to holistically help you to hear and understand what your body is saying. So I will definitely have a link below for the journal, as well as for the Diabetes is a Spiritual Issue book. You'll be able to get a hold of those things. And then you can definitely go to therealhealthyyou.com and find some things there as well.
Put your questions, ask your questions. The Facebook page.
Yeah, Facebook group, as well as comments below.
The Real Healthy You.
Yep. Absolutely. So yeah, so that's that.
Do it.
Yeah. So we
do
hope
it. Any question, just put it out there.
Absolutely. And we hope you got something good out of this. And thank you for listening once again. And
remember,
take
your temple back.
Toodles.
Bye.